Welcome back to Between Bells, everyone. This segment is brought to you by JP Morgan Chase, celebrating Women's History Month and empowering all women to thrive. A recent study has found that young people's mental health worsens as they go through their teenage years, with the well-being of adolescent girls the most severely impacted. The researchers found a distinct drop in girls' self-esteem and sense of self between the ages of 11 and 14. Our next guest specializes in how to raise self-esteem among that age group using mind, body, and soul. Joining us now is Simone Alicia, the self-esteem doctor and creator of the Self-Esteem Doctor Academy. Simone, welcome to the show. What is the Self-Esteem Doctor Academy and how does it work?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So the Self-Esteem Doctor Academy is this beautiful place where you come and get resources. The girls that you were just describing and their families and even young boys can come and get the help and the resources they need to help them raise self-esteem. We're answering questions or providing resources, giving real step-by-step practical tools that the kids can use to actually build their self-esteem.
All right. This is a great program, especially with all the research we're getting about how much social media and just the environment is affecting young girls. What are the main factors that impact, in your opinion, an adolescent and, of course, teenage girls, especially when it comes to negative self-esteem in their life?
Oh, for sure. So the number one thing, actually, very technically, is the self-talk. It's what's going on inside the mind and the emotions of that particular teen or person. And then that, of course, we know is influenced by outside factors, like you said. So we're looking at potentially social media. We're looking at the interaction with peers in the schools. We're definitely talking about the natural changes that are going on in their bodies. And of course, we have to think about even something like the pandemic and how that changed the dynamics of some of their friendships and made them question where they belonged and things like that. So it's a lot of outside factors that I think are, and not to mention the pressures in school as well, that are really affecting our kids' self-esteem.
Simone, what does low self-esteem look like when it comes to adolescents? How can parents be aware of these signs? What should they look for?
Oh, well, when we're talking about self-esteem, right, it's the way that we're thinking and feeling about ourselves. So right away, you can kind of hear and see the way that our kids are thinking in the way that they are speaking. You can hear in that language that they're using. So if they're using a lot of self-depreciating words, like, I can't do this and this never works and no one likes me, I have no friends, and it goes a little further to kind of seem like this is how they think life will be for them in the future, then we know that our kids are dealing with something a little bit more significant in terms of their self-esteem and their self-worth, that they're not feeling capable or worthy or valuable or important in any way, and they don't see a way to get there. So listen to that language, look for behaviors, sometimes that anger or really low, that attitude or frustration, even the way they're treating their peers or family, all of that and all of those things can be indications of lower self-esteem and the fact that they're struggling with the way they're thinking and feeling about themselves and their lives.
As I mentioned before, there's so much research out there that found that excessive social media use is a contributing factor here. When we talk about adolescents and social media, they use it for TV, they use it for music. Is there a way to find good when it comes to these social media platforms where there's not such a negative impact on these young girls?
Absolutely. I just think it has to be taught. So I think that we can utilize these different platforms almost like a positive place to go, right? And that would be determined by who you're following, being aware that you can look for different accounts that reflect how you want to feel. In some of my classes, I talk about something called target emotion, and that is just the emotion you want to feel. What's your target? And if you think about, I want to feel this way, well, what are the accounts, the shows, the movies, the songs, the programs, the speakers, who are the influencers who are speaking that language that would help you reach your target emotion when you tune into them? Those are great places to start in terms of making sure that social media and everything that our kids are exposed to is actually contributing to them feeling a little bit better about themselves and not always so magnified on that negative.
How does the process of raising one's self-esteem differ among age groups here, Simone? Would you recommend different practices for adults or, for example, even younger children than teenage girls?
Oh, yes, there's a different approach that will make sense to each age group. Overall, what we're looking to do is to make a practice, a habit, right, a ritual out of the way that we're thinking, to get us used to a different thinking pattern. The way we think leads to our belief systems, and our belief systems start to lead to our behaviors, right? And you go from a mood to a temperament to a personality when you hold on to certain thought patterns. So you really want to make sure that the ultimate goal of whatever you're teaching is to help change those thought patterns. So for a younger child, you might get into role playing and, okay, let's pretend this. And you do a lot of role playing. For an older child, you might talk a little bit more about expressing in a journal and then refilling with gratitude and positive thoughts and making it a practice and teaching the fact that there is a way, it does work, we can prove it to you. And this is a lifestyle we're talking about, becoming this person who is positive as a matter of habit and practice.
Is there such a thing, Simone, as having too much self-esteem? And if so, how do you draw that line?
I always tell people, this is the difference. When you are affirming yourself and you're saying, you know what, I believe in myself, I can do this, I'm really smart, I'm going to get this A, you are affirming self. And that is beautiful self-esteem, that self-esteem work. Once you get into a competitive space where you're like, I'm better than you, and I'm going to get a better grade than you. And it's really all about comparison and fighting and proving yourself and being better than others. Now we've crossed the line from a healthy place of really just wanting to establish my value for myself and my performance, and really trying to get into the, I'm better than you and let's get into a fight. So I think that's a really great line to draw, is to realize self-esteem, when it's genuine, it's all about love, and it's going to come out as love, and it's going to be something you spread and it just feels good. When it crosses the line into arrogance or competition, it usually doesn't feel so good. It's a little bit more aggressive and me versus you. And that's not necessarily the self-esteem space that I like to teach, of course.
I understand that. Simone Alicia, the self-esteem doctor and creator of the Self-Esteem Doctor Academy. Thank you so much for your time, Simone.